Every week, the program Sports Nation introduces you to the main events of Kazakhstan and world sports. We cover large tournaments, find outstanding heroes, and open doors to the best sports arenas in the country. In today's program, we will visit the base of the football club Kairat, which is by right one of the best in the CIS. We'll talk to the main star of the team, the legend of Russian football, Andrey Arshavin. And let's talk about how rock climbing is developing in the country. Recently it was included in the Olympic program. The base of Kairat is spread over an area of 12,000 hectares. The local landscape would be envied by the owners of many resorts. The football base is divided into several blocks: medical, residential, and sports. The base of the football club Kairat has been functioning since 2015. It includes 5 football fields. 3 of them are natural, 2 are heated. There are 2 artificial fields, one of which allows training in the winter. According to all characteristics, the base of Kairat claims to be one of the best not only in CIS countries, but also Europe. The latest simulators and technologies for restoring players, the owner of the club Kairat Boranbayev took part in the creation of the project. Here we have an anti-gravity track. We use it for recovery training. Suppose you have a knee injury. Its advantage is that it allows you to reduce the load on a certain muscle group up to 80%. This technique of recovery is used by astronauts. Such equipment is available only at the leading clubs of the world, like Juventus, Manchester United and Barcelona. Another pride of the club is the unique Footbonaut simulator. The Portuguese Benfica and Dortmund Borussia have it too. With the help of a simulator, players sharpen the reception of the ball and the accuracy of the pass. After each training, players can visit the physiotherapy room or go for a massage. The health and physical condition of the Kairat's players is monitored by specialists from Spain. Here we have a cryo camera for accelerated recovery of the body. The cryo camera consists of 2 chambers. In the first room, the temperature reaches -60 degrees. In the second room, the temperature reaches -110 degrees. With this load and temperature, the player must stay there for about 2 to 3 minutes. When exposed to the lowest possible temperature, your body recovers more quickly. It improves your blood circulation and metabolism. The nutrition of players is closely monitored. Fried food is prohibited. The dishes are mostly steamed or grilled. On the eve and on the day of the game, the menu for Kairat players consists of bolognese, chicken and salmon. The diet of football players is particular because it has a lot of fish. There is such a technique as smart plate, when visually the plate is divided into 3 parts. This is meat, side dish and vegetables. Sweet desserts are not prohibited, but they must be prepared from natural ingredients. All this we cook here. One of the most comfortable places on the base is a restroom. In their spare time, players read books or play video games.
Футболисты очень любят играть FIFA 17.
Football players are very fond of playing FIFA 2018. Also, we have a small zone for watching matches. They like to watch football very much. They're divided into different camps. Someone is rooting for Real Madrid, someone for Barcelona. The head of our club directly participated in the project Design, all in order to make the stay of our players comfortable. A football player should feel support not only on the football field, but also outside. We strive for that.
Он чувствует поддержку и не только на футбольном поле, но и за пределами, что, соответственно, мы стараемся на базе делать. Футбольный клуб «Кайрат» — это большая многонациональная семья.
Football club is a large multinational family. Here are football players and coaching staff from different countries: Trinidad and Tobago, Uruguay, Russia, Kazakhstan and Spain. The players of the national team of Hungary, the striker from Norway, play in our team. And of course, every football team has a football player from Brazil.
Ну и, конечно же, в каждой футбольной команде есть футболист из Бразилии.
Coming up on Sports Nation, ex-captain of the Russian national football team, Andrey Arshavin, fan favorite, will talk about the love for the game number one, his life in Kazakhstan, and a trip to the World Cup.
Andrey Arshavin is an idol of millions and symbol of the whole football generation. Goals to Liverpool made him a world-class star. Just few people perceived his transition to Kairat in 2016 as strengthening for Almaty, but now he helps to the team in very important matches.
Andrey, this season you score very important goals for Kairat, but at the same time, only 90 minutes were spent on the field in one match. How do you feel yourself physically? I think I still need to get into my optimal physical form. Unfortunately, by the beginning of the season, it did not work out. But here the recipe is simple. The more I play, the sooner I will get into my best shape. It must be much harder with age, especially when you're older than 35. I feel fine. Anyway, the older you are, the harder it is to get yourself in shape after a vacation. Kairat had such a problem for several seasons. The defense was very weak and the club won only through the attack. This season you are stronger. Are you ready to solve the problem of reaching the group stage of the Europa League? I think in order to get into the Europa League group, we need to strengthen our entire team. In general, if we talk about the championship of Kazakhstan, we have the same composition as it was last year. Do the guys listen to you? Do you give them any advice? One way or another, they listen to me. But do they follow what I say? You need to ask them. Naturally, someone is offended, someone reacts normally. There are different situations. I try to behave myself naturally. It turns out that wherever I am, I'm always the leader. I try to do something substantial. If there is a need to lead the game on the field, if there is a need to suggest what to do in the game, or there is a problem in the locker room, I try to help out. Does the family come to the matches? Yes. My family visits me here in Kazakhstan. Naturally, when they're here, they come to see me play. Well, earlier, when I started playing in Zenit, I did not like when my parents and my family came to the matches. Even when I played in junior football, but over time, I began to feel more comfortable about it. Andrey, how much more time do you think you can play football at a professional level? I think that the end is near, and it's very close. Where are you going to go? No. Football is my favorite thing in my life. I would like to stay in football. In what capacity? If it's not a secret. It depends. Life will show. Aren't you afraid of the idea that you will have to retire? Of course. I am afraid sometimes. And sometimes I feel okay about it. For a while everything is fine. Then I'm frightened again. I think, and you can even ask other players, but this is a very difficult moment in their life, because life will completely change. But how and what will happen, you do not know in advance. There are two top clubs in Kazakhstan, Astana and Kairat. The rest of the clubs are far behind their level. Yes, because of infrastructure and money, Kairat and Astana are much better. This is shown in the last two seasons, when we took the second place, and the third team was 20 points behind. Although in the same Shymkent or Aktobe, with a competent management of money in the club, you can create good teams. Aktobe was the flagship of Kazakhstan's football 6-10 years ago. Everything depends on the area. From a particular Akim, they change and their attitude to the club changes. If these were private clubs and there would be one coach, then it would be possible to build some kind of strategy. Also, teams change 75% of their composition every year. All players sign contracts for 1 year. Budgets are also given for 1 year. Is it different in Russia? Partly yes. The first 5 to 7 teams, they have different conditions. The others also depend on the budget. They try to sign a contract for 2 to 3 years, but in general, I would say the situations are a lot similar. When you play at the half-empty stadium, does it hurt your self-esteem?
Конечно, приятно играть на заполненном стадионе.
Of course, it's nice to play at a full stadium, even if the stadium is against you. This is what any football player will say. For example, in Shymkent, last year we played in Biik, where the stadium can accommodate 3,000 people. But it is full, the field is good, and it's a completely different atmosphere than if you play at the central stadium, the main stadium, where there are 8,000 to 9,000 people, but the stadium is for 20,000. It does not look good. It does not create that special atmosphere. So it's better to play in a small stadium, but when it's full. The worst stadium or the worst field you saw in Kazakhstan?
Но неудобнее было, честно, наверное, всего играть. Это вот первая игра.
It was most inconvenient to play in Uralsk, on a reserved field. At the beginning of the year, it is not very good to play in Shymkent, because the grass does not grow in full. Although by the end of the year, it is much better.
Кстати, в Чимкенте, потому что там трава не пойми как растет. Ну вот, хотя к концу года уже нормально. Ну вот, ну а так в целом.
I was lucky I did not play in Kızıldağ or Shymkent at the peak of the heat. I got very lucky.
Все говорят, что в Кызылорде невозможно играть, в Чимкенте тоже, но пока меня проносило.
На уровне чемпионата Казахстана, кто из игроков...
At the level of the championship of Kazakhstan, do you have a player who left you very impressed?
В принципе.
Ну, я думаю, что у Исламхана...
I think Islam Khan has a much higher level than the championship of Kazakhstan. I can list the players of Astana, but I do not want to do this.
Несколько игроков Астаны, просто я не буду их перечислять.
Сборная Казахстана. Ее недавно возглавил Станимир Стоилов.
The national team of Kazakhstan is now headed by Stanimir Stoilov.
Думаю, что те две игры, которые они
I think that those two games that they played under his leadership gave a positive attitude to all the fans, including the players. In the group of the League of Nations, rivals in the forces of the national team of Kazakhstan.
считаю по силам сборной Казахстана.
You said that you would like to play mini-football together with Kairat. Was it successful or not?
Я хотел потренироваться с Кайратом, еще когда тренер был Какао. В принципе, даже связывался с представителем клуба, но не получилось. В принципе, если у меня будет такая возможность...
I wanted to train with Kairat when the coach was Kakao. I contacted the representative of the club, but it did not work. I would really like to come and just work with them. Look at the level of the team. They were world champions among the clubs 2 years ago, and I am interested to feel their level. Very often during 5-6 years playing in Zenit, I played in the championship of universities for my institute. I did not have any problems. I liked it.
За свой институт. И у меня проблем не было. В принципе, мне нравился мини-футбол.
Andrey, we have a lot of fans of Arsenal and fans of the English Premier League in Kazakhstan. Why Arsene Wenger cannot become a champion for many years? What's the problem with Arsenal?
Я думаю, что на таком длинном участке, наверное, в каждый год...
I think that at such a long stage, each season was different. In general, I think that since 2006, when Arsenal was in the Champions League, simply since then, every year, some richer clubs appeared, which at that time had the best lineup, and they won.
Клубы, которые на тот момент имели лучший состав, и поэтому они выигрывали.
Arsenal is not a poor club after all.
Да, Арсенал не бедный клуб, но был период, когда стратегия клуба была отдавать долг.
Yes, they are not poor, but there was a period when the club's strategy was to pay the debt for building the stadium. Then more or less Arsenal began to spend more money after 5-6 years after I left. And then they bought Ozil and Sanchez. Still, this is not enough, because other teams spend many times more and their composition is stronger.
И у них состав более сильный.
Everything is decided by money in England. Not everything. You know that Leicester won the same championship in England. With whom do you keep in touch from former players?
Контактов просто нету, а так, я думаю, если
At the moment, with no one.
ребятами, то проблем вообще не будет.
What do you regret most about?
Я бы ничего иначе не делал.
I would not do anything different. Of course, I made mistakes in my life, but anyway, it's part of my life. I accept everything that happened to me as it should be.
Таким, как оно случилось.
How do you disengage yourself from haters, from people who treat you negatively? I think it happened so long ago. It must have been hurtful.
Не, не сильно, но, конечно, что это
Well,
задевает, но
not
больше,
so
на
much,
самом деле,
but of course it
это
did. But you get it from your close ones, your friends and relatives, because they're the ones who pass on this information to you.
так, если ты,
If you do not read it, you don't feel this hurt.
в принципе, можно
This is part of the profession of any football player.
футболиста,
A great example, Glushakov a year ago was loved by everyone, and now they're slamming him for not having scored a penalty.
а сейчас гнобят его за то, что человек не забил пенальти.
Will you go to the World Cup to watch?
Скорее всего, нет. Как я уже сказал тут в недавнем интервью, чемпионат Казахстана же не останавливается.
Probably not. As I said in a recent interview, the championship of Kazakhstan does not stop. Well, maybe I will be able to get out for a few days. I was invited by my sponsor, with whom I've been cooperating for a long time. But I do not know if I will get on the days of matches or it will be earlier. Maybe I will go to the World Cup, but I don't think so.
Вот, может быть, и удастся, но, скорее всего, нет.
How do you assess the chances of the Russian team at the World Cup? I think they should leave the group, and then we will see how lucky they are. We know that you read a lot. Can you name the top 3 books from Andrey Arshavin? The last book that I finished 2 days ago was I Want and I Will Be by Lapkovsky. I would highlight one book that I remember very well from all the books I've read in the last 5 to 6 years. It is Live in the Present Moment, which I would single out. What kind of music do you listen to?
Какая? Скриптонит? Но я, честно, его ни разу не слышал. Вот я вам клянусь. Хотя мне еще 2 года назад...
To be honest, I never heard of him. Although I was asked 2 years ago, when I was on vacation, what was my opinion on Skriptonite. I did not even know that he has Kazakh roots. Recently, I saw his face. I am not that into popular culture. Many of our football players play FIFA 2018, and I do not even know how to operate the remote control. Last time I played Nintendo. I'm old. I used to love Russian rock, everything that was played in Brother 2 movie. That was my music. Now my taste is simple. Russian pop music. I would say that mod is not bad.
Ну, сейчас попроще, русская попса, так скажем. Ну, последняя мод вот неплохой.
Thank you. Good luck. Thank you for the interview. Coming up in Sports Nation, the state coach for rock climbing, Sergei Belikov, will tell about the chances of Kazakhstan athletes at the Olympic Games in Tokyo.
Техника простая, не вытягивайся, работай ногами, ноги подшагиваем, работаешь по своему маршруту. На таких скалоломах, конечно,
On such climbing walls, risk is minimized. There is a safety rope on these climbing walls. The points of insurance are stationary. They are rigidly fixed. They do not fly out in case of a fall. In terms of equipment, it is very safe.
Это все безопасно.
Rock climbing is loved for its safe extreme. Special schools for rock climbing become more and more popular. There are no divisions on gender and age. Classes are cheaper than one-time visits to climbing walls, and you train under the guidance of coaches.
Надо 3 точки опоры, например, да, то есть не вытягиваться.
We need 3 points of support. Do not stretch. Walk with our feet, because our legs are stronger than hands. It is necessary to walk on a ladder. The equipment is minimal for people. It is a strapping system for a person who climbs for the first time. Then comes a safety carbine and a top safety rope. Shoes can be special sneakers or special climbing shoes.
Ну, обувь там специальная кедок или специальная скалолазная обувь есть.
Rock climbing as a separate sport was born in 1970s. At first, the covered climbing walls were used for training of climbers. Later competitions were held on its base.
В прошлом году, значит, скалолазный спортивный...
Last year, sport climbing was included in the program of the Olympic Games 2020 in Tokyo. There are 3 disciplines in rock climbing: speed, complexity, and bouldering. And one more kind all around, which will be at the Olympics.
Многоборье, олимпийское многоборье.
Now the national team is preparing for the continental competitions. They plan to win at least 1 license for the upcoming Olympic Games in Tokyo.
У нас есть, конечно, проблемы, как у всех видов спорта, это недостаточно...
Of course, we have problems. There is not enough of material and technical base. We need climbing walls, climbing centers. We do not have a single climbing wall in Kazakhstan that corresponds to the international level.
Ни одного именно скалодрома, соответствующего с международным стандартом. С этого года уже есть планы по строительству новых скалодромов.
This year, there are plans to build new climbing walls together with the Federation and the Ministry of Culture and Sports. We have very strong athletes, prize winners of Asian championships. We need to build centers. We're working on this issue, and we hope there will be good support.
Вопрос решаем. Все в курсе, поэтому, я думаю, поддержка все-таки будет.
By tradition, the video of the week concludes our program. Today we're going to Indonesia, where such sport as sepak takraw is incredibly popular. It is something like volleyball, but they play only with their feet. It looks spectacular.